Should robots be given the power to take human lives? This is not a hypothetical question from a sci-fi novel, but a real and pressing ethical dilemma in our rapidly advancing technological world. As we delve deeper into the 21st century, the intersection of technology and morality becomes increasingly complex. We find ourselves on the precipice of a new era, where autonomous machines could potentially wield lethal force. The question we face is not just a technological one, but rather a deeply moral and ethical one. Lethal autonomous weapon systems, or laws, are at the heart of this ethical conundrum. These are not your everyday drones that are remotely piloted by humans. These are machines that can independently identify, select, and engage targets without human intervention. The use of such systems in warfare is a hotly contested issue, with views ranging from outright rejection to cautious acceptance. On one end of the spectrum, some argue that laws can make war more humane. These machines, unburdened by fear or anger, could potentially conduct operations with surgical precision, reducing collateral damage and civilian casualties. On the other end, critics warn of a dystopian future where machines devoid of empathy or conscience decide who lives and who dies. They fear that such weapons could be misused by oppressive regimes or fall into the wrong hands, leading to unprecedented levels of destruction. The debate is further complicated by the fact that the technology for laws is already here. Countries like the United States, China, and Russia are reportedly developing or have already developed such systems. As we stand on the brink of a new era, the question remains, is it ethical to teach robots to kill? Let's delve into the advantages and disadvantages of autonomous killing machines. First up, the pros. One of the most significant benefits of these robotic warriors is their precision. With advanced algorithms and state-of-the-art technology, these machines are capable of executing missions with a level of accuracy that far surpasses human capability. This precision could potentially minimize collateral damage, sparing innocent lives in the heat of conflict. Another advantage is the lack of emotions. A machine doesn't feel fear, anger, or revenge. It doesn't get tired or hungry. It doesn't suffer from post-traumatic stress. By removing the emotional component, we could reduce the potential for human errors that can occur in high-stress situations. This emotionless approach, however, is not without its critics, but more on that later. Now let's turn our attention to the cons. One of the major concerns is the risk of malfunction. Like any technology, autonomous killing machines are not immune to software glitches or hardware failures. The ramifications of such malfunctions on the battlefield could be catastrophic, leading to unintended casualties and collateral damage. There's also the potential for misuse. In the wrong hands, these killer robots could be used to carry out atrocities. The fear is that these machines could be programmed to target specific ethnic, religious, or political groups, leading to a new form of automated genocide. Lastly, there's the dehumanization of warfare. By removing the human element, we risk turning war into a remote-controlled video game, devoid of empathy and understanding. This could potentially lead to a casual approach to conflict, where the human cost is overlooked in favor of strategic gains. So there you have it. The precision and lack of emotion in autonomous machines can be advantageous, but the risks and ethical implications are significant. It's a complex issue, with no easy answers. But it's a conversation we need to have, as the line between science fiction and reality continues to blur. Deploying killer robots isn't just a simple switch from human to machine. It carries potential consequences that we cannot ignore. Let's delve into what these could be. Imagine a world where machines execute decisions of life and death. What happens when we surrender this control? We risk losing our ability to oversee and intervene in critical situations, potentially leading to unforeseen tragedies. It's like giving the keys of your car to a toddler. You wouldn't do that, would you? Now consider a scenario where there's a glitch, a malfunction, or even misuse. The risk of mass casualties becomes a haunting reality. A machine going rogue or falling into the wrong hands could lead to cataclysmic consequences. You've seen it in movies, but this isn't science fiction. It's a real possibility. Furthermore, there's the threat of an arms race in killer robots. This isn't merely about who has the most advanced technology, but who controls this technology. An international competition in lethal autonomous weapons could escalate tensions, fostering an environment of fear and distrust. In the heat of conflict, these machines won't experience fear, fatigue, or emotions, which can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, It could lead to more calculated decisions, but on the other, it could result in an absence of mercy, a lack of human judgment. And then there's the question of accountability. If something goes wrong, who's to blame? The developers, the operators, or the robots themselves? The lines of responsibility could become blurred, leading to a legal and moral quagmire. So you see, the introduction of lethal autonomous weapons isn't a clear-cut solution. It's a Pandora's box of potential problems and risks. We have to consider the ethical, legal, and humanitarian implications before we step into this uncharted territory. The loss of human control and the risk of mass casualties are very real. The stakes are high. It's not just about creating advanced technology, but also understanding and managing its potential impacts. After all, with great power comes great responsibility. The ethical implications of teaching robots to kill are far-reaching and complex. As we tread this uncharted territory, we encounter a labyrinth of ethical considerations, each more intricate than the last. At the heart of these implications is accountability. Who bears the burden when a machine makes a fatal mistake? Is it the engineers who designed the systems, the operators who deployed them, or the policymakers who sanctioned their use? Determining responsibility in such a scenario is a daunting task, and one that legal systems around the world are grappling with. Then, we come to the sanctity of human life. If we allow machines to choose who lives and who dies, are we not undermining the value we place on life itself? By delegating the power to take life to an emotionless machine, we may be reducing human life to mere data points in an algorithm. This is a concern that resonates deeply with our shared human values and is one that we cannot afford to ignore. Lastly, there's the potential for a lack of empathy in decision-making. Humans, with our capacity for compassion, can consider the context and nuances of a situation before making a life or death decision. A machine, no matter how sophisticated, lacks this ability. It operates solely on logic and programming, devoid of the emotional intelligence that guides human judgment. This could lead to outcomes that, while logical, are ethically unacceptable. These are just a few of the ethical implications of teaching robots to kill. There are many more, each as complex and difficult to navigate as the last. As we continue to develop and deploy these technologies, it's crucial that we keep these ethical considerations at the forefront of our minds. These ethical implications urge us to reflect on the responsibility of developing such technology. As we stand at the precipice of this new era, we must ask ourselves, are we ready to shoulder the ethical weight that comes with it? This is not a decision to be made lightly, it's a decision that involves us all. In the world of tomorrow, where technology and morality intersect, our collective conscience will determine the fate of autonomous weapons. As we stand on the precipice of a new era, we must consider the weight of our actions. The choice to imbue machines with the capacity to kill is not just a question of feasibility, it's a question of ethics, a question of responsibility. We've explored the pros and cons of autonomous killing machines, their precision, their lack of emotions. We've considered the potential consequences, the loss of human control, the risk of mass casualties. But what about the ethical implications? What does it mean for us as a society if we choose to delegate the power of life and death to machines? Consider this. If we teach robots to kill, does it not mean we are relinquishing our own moral compass? Are we not stepping away from the very essence of what makes us human? Our capacity for empathy, for discernment, for mercy. Now, imagine a world where warfare is bereft of human involvement. A world where machines, devoid of emotion or conscience, are the arbiters of life and death. Is this a future we are comfortable with? Is this a future we are prepared to accept? These are not easy questions, and there are no easy answers. But it's crucial that we engage in this dialogue, that we reflect on our choices, that we understand the implications of our decisions. So let's start a conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments section. What do you think about the ethics of teaching robots to kill? What's your stance on autonomous weapons? How do you envision the future of warfare? And remember, the future of warfare could be in our hands. It's up to us to shape it, to guide it, to ensure it aligns with our moral and ethical values. This is a conversation that needs to continue. Subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Together, let's explore the ethical boundaries of technology and its impact on our world.